Hello everybody, welcome to this intermediate SQL series. In the previous series, we have seen beginner SQL concepts. Now it's time to see some of the intermediate concepts like joins, unions, string functions, subqueries and window functions. This is going to be again a practical oriented series, and I am sure this will help you to enhance your SQL skills. So just follow me and let's get started. Let's try to understand joins. So whenever we have some requirements, like we have to retrieve the data from multiple tables, like two or more tables, then how we can retrieve in the single query. So that is one of the requirement might be having, where you need to retrieve the data from multiple tables in a single query. So let's say we do have these two tables, which is giving some data. One is the employee demographics and the other one is the employee salary. So basically, employee demographics is having the employee details like employee ID, first name, last name, their age and gender. And salary is having something which is employee ID is there, and we do have first name, last name, but their occupation and salary as well. So now let's say we have some requirement like I wanted to get the first name, last name, and their employee ID, their occupation, and salary as well in a single query, or let's say in a wanted to get a result like that. So how we can get that? For that, we do have a joins concept which is used in SQL to join the different tables. So how to do that? So first of all, let's see this first table's data. You can see there is an employee ID column here, and then there is employee salary as well, which is again having this employee ID column. Now, whenever the database is designed, there is a primary key and a foreign key concept. This is nothing but one table is having a primary key, and the other table will be referring to that primary key that is called as a foreign key. So in this case, let's say the employee demographics is the primary, having a primary key as employee ID, and employee salary is having the employee ID as a foreign. So now on this basis, we can join. So there are different joins types. The first one we can say is inner join. The second, which is nothing but whenever the two tables are joined, then their matching records between the two tables that will be retrieved. Only matching records. Then there is a outer join. In this outer join, we do have left and right join. We will see this now practically how we can get this data. So in left outer join, we get the data, all the data from the left table and matching data from the right table. And the opposite is with the right join. Let's try to understand this. First, we will try to see inner join, and then we will see how we can get this outer join data. So for this, I'm just typing this now. Now this is the employees demographics, and you need to just remove this, let's say, and this is the table. So whenever we wanted to join, so we need to remember that there will be one select clause, then their fields as a star or some specific fields, and then from clause, and then in from clause we have to give first column table name, then we have to mention as a join. Now and the second table. Now what we are trying to do is employee demographics we are trying to join with this employee salary. By default, whenever we specify this join, it comes as an inner join, or we can specify as an inner join here as specific, so that it will be easy to understand. Now, how we can write this? So we know that there is an employee ID. So in the two tables, there should be one common column. So in this table, employee ID is common, and in employee salary as in employee demographics as well, we do have a employee ID. It is not necessary that column name should be same, but their content should be same. Like it should be ID only. Cannot match number with the string data. Like if in the first table we have employee ID, and in the second table if we try to match with the department ID, it is not exactly same, because employee ID and department ID are completely different. So we cannot join on this. So we should be able to understand its meaning or semantic of that particular column. Based on that only we can join. Now this is something which is we can join, but how we can join? For that, we need to type on, and then we wanted to join employee ID from employee demographics. So we will see employee ID, and I wanted to join employee ID from employee salary table as well. So because both are common, so that is something which is I am specifying. And if I try to run this, you can see the error is employee ID on the clause is ambiguous. That means the SQL engine is not able to identify from which table this employee ID we need to take. So for that, what we wanted to do is we need to specify this is the left table and just give a dot here, and then we need to specify this column. And similarly for employee ID, we need to specify here as this, like this. Now this is the way we can do, and just try to run it now. Now you can see both the tables data will be there. See, this is the data from employee demographics. You can see employee ID, first name, last name, age, gender, birth date. Now from the second table, we do have employee ID, first name, last name, salary, department ID. Now you can see these two columns, employee ID and employee ID. So these are the only matching records. 3, 3 and 4. You don't see 2. Let me show you. There was a 2 ID as well. See, here this is the record for Rajesh Samson, uh, who is having employee ID is 2. But we don't have a 2 employee ID here in employee demographics. You can see 1, 3, 4, 5, but we don't have a 2. That's why it is not coming here when we join these two tables. You can see only matching record, like from first table and from second table, only matching records. So wherever you see employee ID is matching, that record you will be getting. Now this is inner join, but sometimes what happens, we have given this employee salary and employee demographics. So this is a bigger name, and probably to read uh, the SQL query, it is difficult. So what we can do, we can make it somewhat simpler like this. For this, we can get an alias. Alias is one thing which is we can mention, and for this we can say DEM as a demographics, and for this we can say as a salary. So this is an alias. If we give an alias, then same alias you can give it here, and this alias we can give it here. So now this query looks simpler, and we can when we run it, it will give the correct result. Now there is something more as well here. Suppose I wanted to instead of getting all the columns from both the tables, I just wanted to get some of the columns from the first table and some of the columns from the second column. So how we can do this? So we can just give dem as an alias. So this dem is alias, so we can give, and let's say I wanted to get the dem from this first name, and then let's tap here em from first name. So we need to give a dem a comma separated here. So this is 3 columns I have taken from the first table, and let's say I wanted to get an age as well. So this is something which is I am getting. Now from the second table, which is this is salary. From this I wanted to get, let's say, first name, last name will be same, occupation and salary. These are 2 columns you can take. So what we can do, we can say 60 here, and we can say occupation, and again salary here as a salary. Now what this query is going to do is, we are getting the data specific what we need, not all the columns from both the tables. Try to run it. Now you can see employee ID, then first name, last name, age, and occupation and salary. So this is giving some specific information. So this is how we can use inner join to get the data from the two tables. Now there is another concept of outer join. So how we can do this? Let's say now this the same query we can give or make as a outer join. So inner join will give the only matching records. Outer join will have two types. Is we can say left outer join. Now you can say left outer join. So what we are trying to get, we are trying to get all the records from employee demographics and the matching record from employee salary. So this is left outer join. If I try to run it now, now you can see we are getting all the records from the first table, which is here. And let's try to do this as a select star so that we will get the data from both the tables. Now try to get, see, we are getting all the records from the first table. Similarly, whatever the matching which are coming from right, that it is coming. Now the opposite, which is nothing but right join. So how we can do this right join? For right join, we, instead of left, we just need to specify right. Now if I try to run this now, you can see now this is something which is giving as some null record. So why it is like that? Because this is something which is this in the second table we do have employee ID second, which is not available in the first table. So that is why all the records from second right table and the matching records from the left table. So that is only it is going to show up. So this is how we can use left and right outer join. Now then there is another join which is self join. So self join is basically joining the same table. Let's say we do have this. So we do have this table, and I'm just trying to run this now. And I just wanted to get this employee ID. And let's say I do have a requirement that there is employee ID I wanted to match with the second table, something like that. So let's try to do this. So same table we can join. For this, we can say salary 1 as a table, and let's say EMP1, and join with again same table we can, because we wanted to join with the same table on. So EMP1 dot employee ID, which is equal to EMP2 dot employee ID. Now what will happen if I try to run this now? Let me show you. Basically, from the first table, it is showing all the records. The second table again, it is showing all the records. Now, this is not going to be helpful, but if I try to, if I do like this, +1, and try to run it now, now I will show you what happened. Like employee ID first is matching with the employee ID 2, because from the first is we have +1 just added. So first is matching with 2, 2 is matching with 3, 4, 3 is matching with 4. Like that, it is showing as a self join. So we can do this. There are some requirements. It's not always used as a self join, but some of the time this is being used. So that time, whenever we wanted to get the records from the same table for multiple reasons, we can get like this. So this is a self join which is we can use. Now the next concept is joining multiple tables, where what we wanted to do is instead of just two tables, if there are multiple tables like more than two tables, then how we can do that? So now we do have this employee demo salary and supply departments. These are the two tables. If I just try to execute this now, and I'll show you means what is their data. Now in the supply departments, we do have department ID and department name. And in employee salary, we do have department ID and other detail like salary. So whatever, if there is any requirement, we wanted to get the data as first name, last name, then age of that particular employee, then salary, and then department name. So how we can do that? For that, we need to join. So based on this department ID, because this is a common in both the tables, you can see. So we can join like this. Now, how we can do this? So we do have this query which is already joining two tables, employee demographics and employee salary. Now, we wanted to join the third table. So how we can do? Let's say join, and we are going to join supply departments. Alias we will give as SD, and on we can mention as So now we wanted to join with the department ID. So the department ID available is in the salary table. That's dot department ID, which is equal to SD, third table, and then its department ID. Now from this, we are getting all the records from these three tables. If I try to run this, you can see first table record like this, the second table record like this, and the third table is again this department ID. Now I just wanted to get the few things from here. So from the three tables, I can get like DM first name, DM dot last name, and DM dot age. So this is we are getting. From the second table, I wanted to get salary, which is let's say occupation I wanted to get, and then from salary, salary. So from second, and the third table, which is SD, which is nothing but the department I wanted to get. And if I try to run this now, can get particular employee names, their age, their occupation, their salary, and their department. So this is something which is we can get from three tables. We can join like this, and based on their cardinality or based on their data, we can join inner join, left join, or outer join, right? That's it from this video. In the next video, we will see union operator in